Hi everybody, this is Chloe Hudson with World Peace Projects. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's topic is how entities travel. How do they navigate and move? Now, I think this is a very important topic to understand because I don't believe that it's commonly known how much entities are moving in and out of our person, of our bodies, and our environment constantly. It's a very common place that entities are hopping through people and animals and all sorts of electromagnetic frequential sentient beings. If we understand that we are made up of electromagnetic energy, entities are also electromagnetically frequential by nature, and they know how to traverse the frequential planes. Our thought forms, which are plasmatic, our emotional bodies, our consciousness, and our psyche all have an electromagnetic frequency. There is a bandwidth in which it exists upon. Most of us know through quantum physics that our body is in fact not solid mass. In fact, mass is not solid. It is a highly oscillating, vibrating frequency in which it appears to the naked eye to be solid, though it is not, and entities understand this. Now, I was watching a documentary recently about the making of the film The Conjuring, based off of the amazing pioneering paranormal work of Ed and Lorraine Warren. And in this documentary, Lorraine Warren was sharing that the way in which entities influence or present themselves onto the space around them or other people in the space is through infestation, oppression, and possession. Now, how do they actually gain access in the first place? Through electromagnetic frequency. In my perspective, the reason that it's more commonplace that children may be the anchor point for certain entities such as poltergeist is because children have very weak boundaries and they're very flexible in their electromagnetic field. It's much more easier to hook into them. They are also more present within the frequential space and dimensionalities at that age than adults are. Their energy is still amorphous and moving through the etheric spaces through consciousness. And this is a prime person or aspect for an entity to access. Now, entities traverse the etheric and astral planes. They understand that there are certain frequency bandwidths to levels of thought forms and emotional ranges. We also understand, if we've done any research around it, that different thoughts and different emotions hold a certain bandwidth of frequency. If you're high vibing, your energy is going to literally be oscillating higher than if you're at a low depression-like frequential space. Entities have a lot more easy gain if the vibration in the frequency bandwidth is lower. When we have trauma or any type of emotional or mental, psychological, sexual, what have you, wounding within our psyche, in order to anchor this wounding, in order to create a trauma, what must occur is some level of dissociation from your total consciousness at that time. The ego, the psyche, requires a fracture and a split, a separation from the holistic self in order to anchor in the trauma in the first place. When the dissociation happens, as slight as it might be, this part of our consciousness or our psyche gets dislodged from the totality of us and stays and anchors either in the space and time through the memory packet of the situation or the trauma that occurred, or the consciousness may drift off into the etheric realm, the void, what have you, which creates that more out-of-body limerence type experience. When this happens, and all of us have trauma, even animals, we all have gone through moments in our life where we have personalized and been shocked or jolted out of our holistic totality to be fractured and dissociated at some level. This is how negative emotions and negative thoughts, negative belief patterns are formed. This is also where we anchor these stories that we tell ourselves in order to validate and justify why we may be defensive or have false belief systems, what have you. If you are more interested in this and you'd like to learn more, you need assistance on tracking your root timelines or finding the reasons of how entities are accessing your field, please feel free to reach out at worldpeaceprojects.global. But in order to do this, this part of you would have had to fracture off, which gets anchored or lodged in the space and time that it fractured as the rest of your totality continues forward. So in this way, we're leaving bits and parts of us in the past, right? And effectively, these parts of us are still running our psyche. We're still connected. They're still impressing upon us and affecting the way in which we make choices, we navigate, we analyze, we rationalize, we are logical, emotional, or lack thereof. So we're navigating through different spaces and time, so to speak, even if we perceive ourselves to be here now. Our holistic self is not here now. The entities are banking on parts of you being scattered throughout space and time. Because if you are not fully present in your being, which none of us thoroughly are to, the general public, maybe to certain Buddhist monks or people that practice complete mindfulness, situations like this. But in general, I perceive on average, it's not common practice for somebody to be fully present and accounted for in their consciousness and their psyche. When there's these voids in our being, there's fracture pockets and little cracks and crevices, this is where the entities anchor in. They bank on low vibrating frequencies, whether or not that's subconscious, conscious, or unconscious, and wounding. Now, certain styles of entity infiltration are like thought infestations. So something that I've noticed more recently, I've been looking at it for quite a while, but really kind of putting a specificity to it. This happens when I'm in the presence of any narcissist and or somebody with a very deep-seated low-level insecurity. It doesn't mean by at all that they're a narcissist, but there is some very low frequentially oscillating insecurity in their field. Then I notice when I'm, in their presence, engaging with them, and thereafter, I start experiencing mind chatter. And it's usually the type of mind chatter that is denoted by grievances, annoyances, negativity. It tries to spark judgment in me. I notice a seduction of it. It's kind of an overtaking, and it reminds me of that like dirt cloud that was around Linus, the animated character in Peanuts, if you've ever seen that. Everywhere Linus went, there was like this dirt cloud around him. It's just this infestation. Now, as we've talked about before, it's so common for us to perceive that the things that we're thinking are our thoughts. We will stake claim to them and own them because they're in our mind. Though the reality is, most of the time, thought forms, which are plasmatic and frequential by nature, are imposed into our mind, and we own them because of our ignorance of understanding the way in which thought forms navigate. If you can think of your mind more like a breezeway at times, if you don't know how to shore up your mind, you haven't created a container that's protective, then it's an open breezeway. And it can be influenced, and thought forms can access it. Though like any breezeway, it's best to let the energy continue to move. But many people grab onto it and think it's them. So these infestation energies of grievances and negative judgments or nitpicky, what have you, this type of little kind of creepy crawly type thoughts comes in, and I notice it's a frequency match to the energy in that person's field. But now it's lingering and I'm picking it up in my field. Something that I wanted to talk about for quite a while is a style of frequential infestation with certain apathetic type personas, anything on the narcissistic spectrum, antisocial disorders, these types of things, very grandiose, selfish type persona characteristics. I find that the frequency bandwidth is more of the nematode. Now, in my psychic self-defense course, we taught a lot about the different types of psychic entities. And so there's encephalopods, now I'm naming nematodes, there's arachnid, etc., etc. Now, the reason in which entities are so contagious is because they utilize very efficiently the mirror projective dynamic that exists within this holographic reality. Many of you have heard the theory or the idea that you are a creator being that is manifesting their reality into being, whether or not that be consciously or unconsciously. You are, in effect, creating the reality around you. This is a projector-style holographic universe that is simply mirroring back to you what it is that you're putting out. And if this is something that you believe, then you may be a seeker of how to become more conscious of what it is that you're manifesting, what is being projected back to you, so that you can be more conscious about claiming stake to what it is you want to create in your reality. So entities understand this, and when we are met with conflict or some kind of interaction that is triggering and upsetting to us, we personalize it. As soon as we personalize it, we have bought into an agreement, frequentially speaking, for an exchange of energy. This opens up the doors for an entity to lock into you, or at least to hook in something to be anchored or implanted. Now, this is so common, it happens all the time when you're having some kind of heated exchange. Let's use something easy. So one reason that I find that road rage is so common and prevalent, even in the most calmest and peaceful of people, is because when we're driving our vehicle, we are engaging our ego. Now, Webster's dictionary defines ego as the part of the mind that mediates between the conscious and the unconscious and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity. Another definition, simply put, is a conscious thinking subject. So I really enjoy this first definition. The part of the mind, remember, we're talking about the mind as a breezeway. It is a container that houses loosely consciousness and thought forms moving in and out. It has the capability to analyze, rationalize, receive, and distribute, though it does not have the capacity to feel. Okay? Now, the part of the mind that mediates between the conscious and unconscious and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity. So when your ego is engaged in the vehicle and you're driving and somebody else's ego gets lit up and triggers your ego, it's very easy to grab this person's ego, and now it is contagious and is latched onto you. And you might immediately react to yourself towards them in your vehicle, and it's often a very inflamed outrage or upset or some type of, more volatile, quick spark reaction. Look at that reaction, because look how contagious and infectious that was. That took a half a second for you to become infected with the frequency energy that they are putting out, or you're perceiving they're putting out. It triggered in you. So if you isolate that contagion, so to speak, and you break it down, let's concentrate it and look at it. Obviously, it's very sticky, okay? Now, we've talked about before on this channel the negative black goo. So etherically speaking, it's common enough when you're looking at these types of infestations, even trauma, negative associations, heavy emotions, experiences, what have you, you will find a plasmatic substance when you're clairvoyantly looking at this in the etheric planes that is a derivative of petroleum, okay? Earth Mother's blood is petroleum, is what we term crude oil. Or I shouldn't say it's petroleum, it's what we term crude oil, and then humans turn it into petroleum. Now, everything physical is simultaneously etheric, though not everything etheric is simultaneously physical. So while we have a physical manifestation of crude oil, we also have an etheric manifestation of crude oil, which is commonly termed in metaphysical realms as negative black goo. We term it negative because there's also positive. This is negatively polarized, which has the ability etherically to infect, and morph something neutral or more positive or higher vibration into lower vibration. This substance is extremely sticky. Think crude oil. So when somebody's energy comes at you and it's provoking, it's of that low vibration, the plasmatic consistency of this is very, very sticky. Another way to describe it is you can think of the silk webbing of an arachnid. It's so malleable, it's so flexible, it's almost translucent, and it sticks to something immediately. It can be intricately, complexly woven. And when this comes into your field, you might immediately get stuck to it and claim and own the frequency signature and rebuttal back or react back. And now you bought into the chain reaction of the contagion or the infestation. And this is how quickly entities can potentially hop through people. There was a wonderful movie back in, I think, 1998 starring Denzel Washington called The Fallen. In this movie, it portrayed a mass murderer being put to death, though after his death, the homicides of the same frequency signature started happening. And they finally figured out that it's because the entity is hopping through physical touch. When a human touched the other human, the entity was able to lop into this physical body because the other physical body matched a frequency bandwidth that had some lower level of energy in it, which most of us do, so it could access into the field. Also, when you touch somebody or certain spell casting, like you're welcome, hello, come in, thank you for coming, I invite you, all of these types of things. This is an agreement. This is an invitation. There's an exchange here. Now, entities also understand the laws of the universe. Now, regardless of your ignorance to laws or your awareness, laws are laws, they're still in effect. If a police officer pulls you over and asks you why you ran through the stop sign, and you say to this officer, truthfully so, that you were not aware that the stop sign meant you needed to stop, that doesn't matter. You may still get a ticket or be convicted because you broke the law regardless of your ignorance of it. Most humans are very ignorant of the universal laws at play. Entities bank on this and they exploit it. They take advantage of this. They understand through generational lines, societal norms, bloodlines, cultural agreements, maybe, job descriptions, ways in which you want to have a good standing in your class system, maybe being male or female or what have you, comes with certain unwritten agreements that you buy into and agree to because you want to maintain the status quo and be accepted. A lot of these agreements long ago had entity access infiltrated into them in order for them to continue to navigate through space and time. They are supremely efficient at hacking consciousness. Now, there's enough sci-fi movies and such out there for most of us to get a grasp on how proficient and common it is at this point for consciousness to be hacked, siphoned, swiped, exchanged, what have you, deleted, uploaded. All of this might sound a bit outlandish, but it's actually quite true, because there's many types of consciousness frequentially running at any one time. We're looking at AI consciousness these days as one way to explain it. Now, your consciousness could be running amok, which leaves you wide open to entity interference, which is another reason why it's very important to be present in your I am self. This is a concept that people might dismiss very quickly if they're not open to mindfulness, spirituality, religion, what have you. But this concept goes beyond just looking at being self-aware. There's an importance to being present. There are more implications around your I am self and being present through your consciousness than simply being a mindful person. Why do you want to be a mindful person in the first place? Well, one main reason that most people utilize mindfulness, possibly in my opinion, is to clear their mind of these debilitating, insistent, contagious, infectious thoughts that can give you peace, that can help you to relax and enjoy your life more. But above and beyond that, if you have command over your mind space and you're not allowing your mind to be a breezeway for these frequential thoughts and plasmatic forms coming in and out, then you're commanding and shoring up your agency, your authority, your vessel, so it cannot be infiltrated. Mindfulness is extremely important when you want to ensure that you're protecting your domain. The I am self requires one to be fully present and accounted for. In theory, if we were fully present, then we would have already healed and retrieved all wounded parts of us that fractured off and disassociated in those points in our life. And they have now been drawn back into the full conscious totality that we are. And by doing that, in effect, we shore up any openings, cracks, or crevices where entities could slide in from another time and space to access us now. It's very important to call our consciousness back to us and to heal. If we look at the movies The Matrix, they showed us so efficiently at how these entities and these AI systems navigate through Smith programs, through apps running in the background. It's exactly the same thing. It's very easy to become infested through a backdoor program that uploads into your psyche, your consciousness, your emotional body, your sexual body, your physical body, what have you, because we are ignorant to our I am self. We are not fully and accounted for in all now moments and paying attention and able to be clear of what's going on in all bodies and all levels and all times. So what do we do? How do we protect ourselves? How do we identify when there's possibly an infestation happening and shore up our energies so that we can repel these out and or at least recognize what's coming towards us and opt out by being authoritative in our being, by owning our domain, claiming our lot in life, and holding agency and sovereignty in who we are? Well, in my opinion, as I've been speaking on for months, I think it's extremely effective and imperative to do your inner child work. If you want help with this, please follow the link below. My Inner Child series part 1 is on sale right now. Sign up for part 2 starting on June 1st. This is imperative because, as we already spoke of, when we have trauma moments and fracture points in our life, this includes animals as well. It happened in another space and time. When that happened in that space and time, that is where, that is the geolocation, that is the coordinate through quantum space and time where you have left a part of your psyche that requires retrieval. And your treasure map to finding that part of you is through the emotions and the triggers and the loop cycles that you're having in your now moment. The loop cycles and projection mirror dynamics that the entities are banking on is your treasure map in order to track it all the way back through the emotion to X marks the spot. Where, through space and time in your past, did you anchor the trauma? Where is that part of your inner child still lingering that needs retrieval and must be integrated back into the holistic I am self? That's imperative work. When you start shoring up these trauma points where you've got a gaping hole through your wounded emotional, psychological body, these entities can't latch in anymore with their tentacles. They love hooking into you through these trauma points and traversing back to your present moment through space and time to run amok in your field and do whatever they want, hopping in and out of you into other people that have other trauma points. And it's not that they have to go on some, incredible adventure like you might have to in order to shore up your trauma, because they see your subconscious self. You have to hunt for it. You have to find the parts of you that you cast out because it was too painful to pay attention to. They see it clear as day. So this part is imperative. Calling back fragmented consciousness that's scattered throughout space and time and bringing it back into holistic awareness. Another thing that you can do is recognize the insidious, infectious frequency signature of when you're getting triggered by somebody else's entities and energies in their field. If somebody comes into your periphery, whether or not you're having a direct response with them, you're observing them, road rage, what have you, and you start getting triggered and suddenly there's all sorts of thoughts and energies and agitations, frustrations, judgments, grievances, annoyances, upsets, what have you, in your field, like a big dust cloud around you, that should let you know immediately, this is not yours. This is an external influence that's infesting your field. You do not have to claim stake to it. You do not own it, and you command it out. You're not interested. You don't need to react to it. You don't need to judge it or get upset with it because it is what it is. You're simply recognizing and observing, making an inference of the energy in your field that came with that person or that situation that is not yours. And you clear this away without having an overinflated response to it. Because within the judgment, within the reaction to it, is where you make an agreement with it. When you judge something, you are in effect agreeing to engaging with it. You are creating, albeit temporary possibly, a relationship with this energy, this thought, this emotion. This is contractual through the etheric realms. And now you're having an exchange. In effect, you've just given permission to an entity to latch onto you if an entity is present. Now, I want to speak for a moment on clearing entities and doing that type of work. Absolutely. There are very wonderful methods and techniques and tools out there to extract etheric entities and energies and technologies and clear demons and all of this type of stuff. And I think it's wonderful. It's as important as it is to have triage and surgery at hospitals. Though I must say that a lot of this work on its own, without finding the root anchor point, which is usually in a lineage-based bloodline anchor, trauma through another time in your life, inner child work, false belief systems and indoctrinations you've taken on through your society, family, culture, what have you. The deeper root is required to extract in order to ensure full protection. You're welcome to do acute triage and remove entities and etheric implants and all of this stuff, what have you. Though remember, that may just be a band-aid. You might just be stopping the bleed without treating the infection and the underlying cause in the first place. So I abhor you. Please do the dirty work.
Get down into it, find the trauma, find the root cause. Why are you manifesting this and magnetizing it into your field in the first place? Learn about your electromagnetic field and how it interacts with all other electromagnetic fields around you. If you are more interested in this and you'd like to learn more, you need assistance on tracking your root timelines or finding the reasons of how entities are accessing your field, please feel free to reach out at worldpeaceprojects.global. Hope you guys are great. Thanks for the likes, thumbs up. Take care. Bye.